What's up, guys? I just got back from watching Beetlejuice 2. Are people calling this Beetlejuice? I think it's easier just to say Beetlejuice 2. Going into this film, I had no expectations. Actually, I was kind of expecting it to be shit. No, I'm not gonna lie. Well, turns out I actually had a lot of fun watching this film. I went to go see this with my mom. I barely watch movies with her when I go to the theater because there's not a lot of stuff that she likes to see. Last film we watched was Twisters. Anyways, that's has nothing to do with anything, I guess. So we went and watched Beetlejuice 2, and when the score kicks in, the updated score from Danny Elfman, it just immediately kicked my nostalgia bones and gave me a nostalgia erection. I was like, oh, like the bass in the theater was kicking in. I was like, wow, this is immaculate. And then I immediately felt like this might be good. And then you just see the cast credits, and you're just like, holy fuck, there's so many actors and actresses in this. That's like, how could this be bad? Like, it's basically an ensemble piece. And by the time I got to the end of the movie, yeah, it is basically an ensemble because there's no singular main character. It's kind of a bunch of pretty well fleshed out characters, which I did enjoy. And apparently when I was looking at the credits, Brad Pitt was an executive producer. What the fuck was Brad Pitt doing? What? Where did that come from? And then, because I only seen the teaser trailer when it first came out forever ago, and then I seen Monica Bellucci and Willem Dafoe. I'm like, what the fuck? Ain't no way this movie's gonna be bad. How you gonna have all these dope ass actors and actresses and have a shit movie? Okay, so no, this movie was not bad. I mean, I do have some gripes, so I'll just get over everything I like. The acting was amazing. Justin Theroux's character is so fucking hate, or so easy to hate, and he plays it so well. That was really something to behold. I'm not the biggest fan of Jenna Ortega, mainly because every time I see her in something, she makes the same acting choices that I would make, and I'm not an actor, so when I see that, I'm like, I'm just disappointed because I want to see something that I wouldn't do, but I think works. And every time I see her in something, it's like something that I would do. I'm just like, I don't want to see that shit. I'm not getting paid to do this shit. Do something different. So it's just a personal bias against her. So, but she was fine in this movie. And then acting across the board was awesome. What I liked about Michael Keaton in this film is that he's still Beetlejuice, but he doesn't have the same energy about him in the previous film, obviously because he's older, but he still carries that same type of I don't know, that same spirit of Beetlejuice, just with more toned down, because he's not all but I don't know if I worded that right, but man, yeah, the acting amazing, the score fantastic. Oh yeah, it was strange because the soundtrack was really good too. They had when Jenna Ortega's character kisses the boy she meets or whatever, they're playing Sigur Rós, and I'm like, the fuck? It just kind of took me back to see Sigur Rós and or Sigur, I don't know how you say their band name, but I've been a fan of theirs for a long time, and it was just odd to see something like that in a mainstream movie. It was kind of like when you watch Warm Bodies and they're playing Midnight City before that was a super big mainstream song. It was just whoa, this is kind of cool. The movie does not suffer from any pacing issues because it has so much going on with all the different characters and all the different plot points. And I thought it was interesting. I don't remember the dude's name, but the dad of Lydia Beach, he doesn't make an actual appearance in this film, and I suspect it's because he's a pedophile and they couldn't have him in the movie because that would be bad publicity. But they handle having him in the movie but not having him in the movie the best that I've ever seen in any sort of legacy sequel or anything that comes out after the fact of the previous film. I was like, wow. And then the whole sequence of him, the animated sequence of him dying from the I thought that was really cool. What else? I thought the plot twist of the dude being dead was pretty I don't know, predictable, but it wasn't like hit you over the head predictable. Like I had my suspicions. I'm like, he's got to be dead. Why would his parents not care about the fence being knocked down? And then I was like, where did he get the damn handbook from? Ain't no way, this dude's dead. And I was like, what about his parents? Like he must have murdered his parents. Boom, it turns out he's murdered his parents. I'm like, okay, but it wasn't like it confirmed my suspicions and I was dissatisfied. I was like, oh, it made me feel intelligent enough to pick up on that, but I feel like most people probably did anyways. Um, like I said, there's so many fucking plot points. First of all, you got the main. What even is the main plot? The main plot is, dude, there's so many fucking plot points. So they plant the seeds with Jenna Ortega and Winona Ryder not really being on the best of terms because Winona Ryder can see dead people, but for some reason they don't ever explain this in the movie either, that she can't see her deceased husband, and this creates a rift between them. So part of the plot, one of the plots is them getting, fixing their relationship, and then you have Beetlejuice, who is trying to marry Lydia, which is basically the same exact plot point from the previous Beetlejuice movie, but there's no reason behind it other than he just wants to be married to her because he finds her attractive or something. I don't know. I thought this was going to tie into the other plot point of Monica Bellucci's character going after Beetlejuice, because you don't understand why she's going after Beetlejuice. You just know she wants revenge, but I thought it was going to somehow tie into like the marriage plot of him wanting to marry Winona Ryder. I thought he was trying to marry Winona Ryder to somehow forgo what she was doing, but that doesn't happen at all. It's just kind of Monica Bellucci's whole plot was pointless because she's just kind of lurking in the background the whole movie, and then she pops up here and there just to create this false sense of tension or something, or like ticking time bomb plot. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know why we're supposed to care. And then when they finally do resolve the plot, it's like at the very end of the movie, and it's one of the first plot points that they set, or it's one of the first plots that they set up, and then they pay it off just like instantly, just like that. And there's like no, like it was like the probably worst part of the movie, and they could have done without it altogether. But I mean, it was still entertaining, I guess, because you got to see Monica Bellucci sucking off Danny DeVito in a non-sexual way. So, so that was pretty cool, I guess. Anything with Monica Bellucci is amazing. If you're into, Gaspar Noé films, go check out Irreversible, or don't. Just look up Irreversible and see if that's something you might be able to handle. Yeah, so you got those two plot points, and then you got, I guess, the kind of like an offbeat or like a divergence or a different path or a different branch off of that plot point with the fuck, what am I trying to say? A different branch of that same plot of the mother and daughter being, split apart, is that you think they're gonna eventually meet the dad in the afterlife, and they do. And then when they do meet the dad, they have like a wholesome family moment, but it doesn't feel earned. It just feels like, oh, we have to have that, so let's have that. So then they have it, and then they just move on. And that's kind of like a lot of the plot points in this film. They just kind of like, all right, we gotta have it, so let's do it, and then let's just move on. And I'm just like, damn. Because then you got that, and then you got Lydia trying to get married to Justin Theroux. For some reason, she just is just like, sure, like, I don't know. And then you have Willem Dafoe trying to like catch Beetlejuice because he broke the rules of like bringing the living into the. There's so much going on in this movie, and that's why it just flies by. Like there's never a moment where you're just sitting there bored. Like by the time you get to the end of it, you're like, oh shit, this is the end. Like it's satisfying, but it's also unsatisfying because after you go through all that, you realize that nothing had like weight to it. It just felt like a roller coaster, which is like, and then it just comes to a stop. You're like, oh, well, shit. Yeah, it's kind of like you go through a roller coaster and it starts off dark, and then you have certain parts that are lit up and you feel like the drops and stuff, and then by the time, boom, you're back at the beginning and you're just like, oh shit, damn. And then I did like the ending kind of because they basically pay homage to the Fly, back when Gina Davis has the dream of her giving birth to a fucking larva, and then it just turns out to be a dream. It's the same thing with this, where she gives birth to a little baby Beetlejuice, and this is another thing I like about the movie is the amount of gore in swearing for a PG-13 movie. I was taken aback by that. I was thrown through a loop. I was like, damn, there's a lot of blood and there's a lot of cussing in this movie. Actually, one of my favorite parts of the movie is when they resolve the plot point of oh my god, that's another plot point. Jesus Christ, that might just happen throughout this review. Fucking Jenna Ortega finds this boy, and then she develops like a romance with him, and then she realizes he's a ghost, and then he takes her to the underworld because he wants to switch her life out with his so he can come back to life, and it turns out he's a fucking murderer, and she gets duped, and there's so much shit going on in this movie. Anyways, they end up resolving this plot point by he has to go get his passport stamped or whatever in the underworld. So he's getting it stamped, and then Winona Ryder's like, "Don't get that stamped," and then it's revealed that Beetlejuice is stamping his shit, and he's like, "Dostoevsky said this," and then he stamps his shit, and he shows him, and it says, "Shit out of luck," and he's like, "Goodbye, fucker," or something like that, and then he just drops him in hell. That was my favorite part of the movie. That shit was so funny. The way he said it, he's just like, "Later, fucker." Like, I don't know. There's something about that whole moment that was just like so fucking funny. Whoops. That damn butter at the movie theater got me goobed. Yeah, overall, it's probably one of the better legacy sequels. Definitely. And the animatronics and the set design and the sound design and oh my god, everything about this movie is just immaculate, except for some of the plots in the story. Because I don't even know what the fuck there's not really any themes in the movie. If there are, they're not executed to like a degree where they leave you pondering after the film. There might be like vaguely like surface level themes painted throughout the film, but there's nothing that has actual depth to it, which is fine. I don't think the movie was trying to do that. I think it was just trying to be a fun movie for old fans of the film and to bring in new fans, I think. And I think they did that pretty freaking well. Like, it's fun, it's funny. Like I said, everything about it is just amazing, except from some of the plot and story elements. But I don't think it was trying to like be anything, other than what it was. And I think what it did really well. So yeah, I would go 10 out of 10. I would recommend the fuck out of this movie. Go watch it with your homies. Go watch it with your girlfriend. Go watch it with your mom. It's a good time for everyone. You can literally take anyone you want to this movie, and they're gonna have a good time. You could take your niece, your daughter, anyone. I think anyone would have a good time with this movie. But yeah, I think the things that are good about the film far outweigh the things that are bad about the film. Yeah, that's what I gotta say about that.